What's up, world? I'm here for another episode of Dream Chasers. Dream Chasers is a show that is sponsored by Gigtown, which is also a Dream Chaser company as well. They have created this amazing app which allows musicians, or if you're a fan of music, you can actually go to this app and see where local acts are playing or get booked for a gig. So they basically have created this transformative app for all the people out there to check out. So go download the Gigtown app. It's gig.town/dreamchasers, gig.town/dreamchasers. Today, I'm really excited to have Nick Noonan, who is a second baseman for the San Francisco Giants, on the show. What's up, Nick? How you doing, man?
Hey, Lucas. Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, dude, just pleasure to have you on the show. You're at such an exciting point in your career. So I'll let you kind of introduce yourself and start by telling everybody how you got into baseball and what you're up to.
Yeah, man. I just, obviously I went to high school with Lucas for a few years, and I was drafted out of high school to play baseball with the San Francisco Giants. Grew up in San Diego. Just started playing baseball when I was really young. My dad would take me out to the park and sign me up on rec teams, and just kind of developed from maybe 3 or 4 years old. So started when I was young, kept it going through grade school, and then high school. I was fortunate enough to kind of excel and then get drafted and went away to play baseball at about 18 years old.
Thanks. So talk about the decision to go pro and like what that involved and what that was like to ultimately make that leap rather than going to play college ball.
Yeah, that's a huge spot in kind of a baseball player's career is after high school. If they have an opportunity to go pro, it's definitely, attractive to kind of start your professional career and, go off kind of on your own or go to college and go to college for a few years and see if you can, accomplish your goals and, maybe, chase down that dream, a few years later. But, for me, I was drafted and I thought the opportunity was right to, follow my dream into, becoming a professional baseball player. So, a lot of options to weigh, but I think in the end, it's worked out well so far.
Yeah. Well, what was the final deciding factor for you that you were going to go pro?
I think kind of it boiled down to opportunity, really. I was drafted pretty high, and I knew that if I signed to go professional, if I had some ups and downs in my career, that, maybe I would have, still a good opportunity to succeed and the opportunity to kind of showcase my skills and do well and be seen as a professional.
Cool. So talk about what it was like to jump out into the professional ranks and just kind of, you said you were traveling and playing ball outside of anyone you really knew. So what was that like?
Well, it was kind of interesting. I signed and I had just turned 18 a couple months before, and I had been away on my own for a little bit, but I signed and I started playing minor league baseball, and the competition was really, really good. And I remember the first couple weeks, thinking, "Holy cow! Like, what did I get myself into? I might be over my head here." Like, I was overmatched at points, early in my career, and thinking back on it, I was probably worrying about something I shouldn't even have been worrying about because we're all going to adjust to the situation, but yeah, there was definitely, a learning curve there and kind of, just jumping, head first and into it all was a little bit of a shock, but, I'm just glad I kind of stuck through it and I realized, hey, there's a lot of talent out here, but there's no reason why I can't be out here too. So, once I got my confidence and found my stride, it all came together, I think.
So how did you hang in there mentally?
It was tough at first. You got to deal with failure the right way at first. It's tough when you're either getting out or you're not performing to what you can, and you go home and you got a lot more time to think about it than you do to actually, succeed, or showcase your skills. So, it's tough. You gotta, get out of your own head sometimes, find a passion away from your passion almost. So, it's just, battling day in and day out and staying confident.
So did you have a little side passion that you create to take your mind off everything?
I kind of got into cars a little bit. I think what helped me at the time was finding a couple close friends, that we all had the common goal of, succeeding as a professional baseball player, making it to the major leagues. And, we all kind of hung out, and, a couple of them are still, some of my best friends today. So, we've been moving around the country for, 7 or 8 years now. And for some reason, we always are keeping in touch.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. So there are two great points to take away from that for the audience, which one, finding a side passion can be a great way to relieve stress. And two, surrounding yourself with good people is crucial, or people who are on the same path as you, which is a pretty common theme on the show. What was the traveling like for you all the time?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, especially in the minor leagues, obviously the major leagues is a whole nother level, but, we were, we were driving, 10 hours on a bus, playing games the next day, and, in little cities on the East Coast or in the South, or, up and down Central California. And, sometimes it's hot and nasty out, and you got 100 people watching you, and you're just going, is this professional baseball? Really? Is this what it's about? But it makes making it, that much sweeter when you've tasted the bitterness, then you get some of the sweetness, and it's all really good. So, you just got to grind it out and go through those tough times when you got no sleep, or you got family back at home, and, it's tough, but, when there's light at the end of the tunnel, it all makes it worth it.
Yeah, well, I can imagine, especially those first few years when, you had this contract and the expectations in your head of like wanting to be in the majors at a certain time. Like, how did you keep that in check?
It's you just kind of get lost in whatever you're doing. Like, you just get lost in baseball, really. You just kind of, just keep believing, really. And everyone's going to have their ups and downs, but at the end of the day, when you just rest your head on that pillow, you just kind of get lost in your passion, really. It's just, whether you're thinking about one thing or the other, I always kind of came back to baseball. So, just kind of kept believing in myself and trucking on.
So do you have any routines that have helped you to sustain success?
Yeah, well, in the baseball world, I guess I do, different, physical routines, I guess. Yeah. But I think away from the field, it was always kind of getting my rest. We go back to, surrounding yourself with people that are, into what you're into. And, we stayed away from like the party scene, or, the people that wanted to succeed. We always kind of did the same thing, make sure we get our rest so we can, perform at our job, which was, playing baseball. So.
Well, that had to be pretty tempting to go out there, because I'm sure, well, maybe I'm not speaking correctly. You had teammates or maybe people along the way who were out doing those things. So I mean, that had to kind of cross your mind at some point, huh?
Yeah. I mean, definitely. There's times to, have fun, and there's times to be serious. And if you can distinguish those times, you're going to stay on the right track, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Well, what's been the toughest part of your journey so far?
There's just been times when you're just thinking, man, is this what I want to do? Or, you see other people, making it before you, or, there's definitely competition in anything that we do, but, you gotta, put those blinders on at times. And, it's tough seeing maybe someone, leapfrog ahead of you, and then you want to catch up to them, but, you're battling what you're going through right now. So, that's part of the dream, is just, staying on your path, and, watching other people, but not watching too closely, and having your blinders on. I think, for a few minutes there, I might have been looking at someone else for too long, and then I got my own career back on path, and things have been working out pretty well.
So there was kind of like one particular moment where you were comparing yourself to someone else, and that was causing you to not perform or mentally be at your best.
Yeah, I think definitely it's a possibility. You got so many guys, around you at all times. It's easy to kind of, watch what other guys are doing and lose focus on yourself. So, number one is you, and I think, stay on your path and you'll be all right.
For sure. Well, let's talk about your transition into the big league. So, what was it like when you found out that you're going to actually come play your first game in the big
Oh
leagues?
man, that was crazy. I was doing really well in spring training, and the team was kind of taking shape there the last couple days, and I I started one last game in preseason and had a couple of hits, and then they called me in the office after the game and they're like, "Hey Nick, you're going to be on the team to start the year," and just of all the years working and all the off-season workouts and time I put into playing baseball, hearing those couple words made it all worth it. And just knowing that I was going to be considered a major league baseball player was all I really needed to hear. So it's a moment I'll never forget for sure.
Yeah, dude. And I don't know if you remember this. I texted you when you played in San Diego for the first time. I was at that game sitting like three rows up, and just to see you out in the field, I was just like, wow, this is crazy. Just from like knowing you to high school to knowing you to now,
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool. So I mean, especially in San Diego, right? Because that must have been an even more surreal moment for you, right? I mean, friends, family, all that jazz.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, the support I've had in San Diego at high school level, hometown friends and family to come to San Diego and spend some time with them on the field and allowing them to watch me play. And, I felt so happy that I was able to share so many moments with people that were there along for the ride. So I was glad to share all the memories with them.
Nice. Well, what was it like hitting that first big league home run?
Oh man, it was incredible. I tell you what, I had been kind of slumping there for a minute, and I just remember, I need to do something good here today, and I just went up to bat and I said, hey, forget everything that's happened, one pitch at a time and take it step by step. And luckily I just connected on one, and I just didn't even feel the ball hit the bat really. I just kind of watched it, and I knew I had a home run there, so I just kind of watched it for an extra second and
Uh-huh.
took off running, and just kind of listened to the crowd. I maybe went a little bit slower, but I was definitely floating around the bases, and just you got to soak in the good moments too. So it was good.
Well, isn't it funny how that works in baseball? And this is kind of in life too, when you're not swinging for the fences or trying to force something, that like success happens.
Yeah, oh, I know it's crazy. You start putting the pedal to the metal, and next thing you know, you're doing a burnout in the same place. So it's crazy how it all works.
Yeah. Well, what's been the toughest part of the transition to the big leagues?
Um, I'd say just, being consistent is extremely tough. The world and the game is constantly changing, but the players that stay consistent with their swing, for baseball players, I think it's, mental and physical. So staying mentally, the same and physically the same is a challenge, and one that I think I'm still learning.
For sure. Well, what's some of the best advice you've gotten from the guys on your team, whether it be life, baseball, maybe if they both connect, that would be awesome. That's helping you move forward.
We always talk about, acting like you belong here is kind of a common theme in baseball. And I think sometimes, you're there for a reason, or you made it for a reason. You've succeeded for a reason. You've done the right things. You've train the right way, and now it's come together. When you reach, you get a little taste of it all, and it's you can't forget that you're there for a reason. And I think that's some of the best advice I've had is you've done so well in the past. Now you're here, and it's because you've done all this stuff. So stay confident in yourself, and go out there and do your best.
See, that's crazy to me. Like the whole like act you belong thing. You'd think with Major League Baseball players, people who have made it, that wouldn't even be a challenge. I think that's so eye-opening for anyone in our audience who isn't aware of that, because it's just like anyone else, right? Who's going through the challenge. It's the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely. I've been up in the majors a little bit and down in the minors a little bit, and it's important to, stay confident in yourself and tell yourself that, hey, you belong here, and there's a reason for it. So, whether you're a musician or someone that's, just getting to the big show, it always helps to have that extra boost of confidence.
You still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
The network dropped out on us, so we're gonna have to see if we can edit that in the actual back end of this podcast. But all right, so you're talking about how acting like you belong on the major league level, and just kind of continue talking about that.
Yeah, I was just mentioning that whether I'm kind of in the major league, minor league level where I'm kind of going up and down, and it's always important to know in your head that, hey, you belong here. And I just kind of related it to anything really. If you're a musician or whatever thing you're into, if you kind of get a taste of the major league, so to speak, or the highest level, you did it for a reason, and hey, tell yourself you belong.
For sure. And talk about, you said the mental side of baseball. What have you been learning there?
Just that it's a game of failure, honestly. If you fail 7 out of 10 times, you could still be in the Hall of Fame. So, there's a lot of things in life I've learned that, hey, sometimes you're going to fail more than you succeed. So, you want to stay away from the roller coaster rides and try and stay on that even keel, which I think most of the time I'm pretty good at, but you want to stay away from those roller coasters.
Yeah. Well, do you have any way to stay away from the roller coasters?
Just moving on from the past. If you're constantly dwelling in the past, or what happened the night before, it's definitely going to affect how you play the next day. And baseball it's a blessing that we get to play every day. So you can come back and go 0 for 4 one day, and then you can go for 4 for 4 the next day. So you got to stay positive and forget the past, I think has helped mentally.
For sure. So where do you want to be in the next few years with your baseball career?
I want to keep battling. Like I said, I think I belong, on a major league team, and just go out there, showcase my skills, and just battle with the guys. It's part of the grind of playing baseball, going out there day in and day out. And over the next couple of years, I just want to continue to grow as a person, but also as a baseball player too, and just keep proving that I'm a baseball player.
For sure. Well, I mean, this is a pretty important year that you got upcoming. So how do you make sure that you're in the right space of mind, prepared from a baseball standpoint, all that jazz?
Well, it's nice. I feel like, this is like my 9th season as a professional. So it hasn't really happened overnight, I guess. As the years kind of go on, you adapt to a training program, you adapt to your swing, adapt mentally. You kind of take the good things from people. You take, it's bits and pieces from different things that you might read, in articles, or, you're doing your research on different things. Take what has worked for me and kind of applied it, to my baseball career. So just, keep learning, keep adapting. Those are some of my things that I think could work.
Yeah, I could definitely see how that would be useful. So when you were having those tough moments, kind of figuring out what you wanted to do next, did you ever question staying with baseball?
I don't think so. I think it's always been in my heart to, keep playing, no matter what, kind of go through. It's what I'm here to do. I signed up to play. I'm going to give it my all until, one day I can't play anymore. So, I think it's always been something that I wanted to do. So it just comes naturally. It's not something I have to fight, pull myself out of bed to do. So it's always been there for me. So.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, Nick, it's definitely been a pleasure having you on the show. To kind of round things off, what would you say that you know now that you wish you knew back when you started playing baseball that you'd share with the audience that you think would be applicable for anyone out there chasing their dreams?
I think it's important to, maybe just take chances in whatever you're doing. There's the cookie cutter way to kind of do things. And I think for the most part, at times I stayed in the cookie cutter, but, at times I did kind of step out of the box, and maybe that helped me in some areas, that helped me, help my career. So, looking back on it, I think, I would have liked to take more chances, swing for the fence, here and there a little bit more. It's important to take those chances, take a leap of faith, and just kind of go out and see what could happen. So I think that's something that, is someone aspiring to, or chasing their dreams, not to be afraid to step out of the box or take a leap of faith.
Yeah. So for you, how could you have done that sooner? Excuse me.
Well, I think, like I said, maybe swinging for the fences a little bit more here and there, playing more aggressively, and it's hard to explain in baseball, I guess, but, hey, just being more aggressive, could have been outside of my box. So.
For sure. Well, what would you say for all the high school baseball players, athletes who are kind of in a similar place that you are? Maybe they're thinking about going pro, college. Like what advice would you give to all those guys?
I think that a common theme in, like the baseball world is, hey, there's always somebody watching. Whether you're, hitting off a tee in the batting cage or you're in the game, in the starting lineup. I think someone's always watching. It might apply to, a lot of other things too, not just baseball. People are out there watching. They're always looking for the next best thing. So you never know when that opportunity can arise, and, just be ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, you're about the stories of the athletes practicing in the dark all the time. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand with what you're saying, because a lot of the good progress you make in life, sports, whatever, is when other people aren't watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never know. Never know what can happen.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. Well, I'm excited to see what happens with your career. Appreciate you taking the time to come on the show, and look forward to being in touch.
Yeah, thanks, Lucas. I appreciate it.
All right, you got it, man.
All right, bye.